I'm Elyssa. Welcome to Wynwood, a district in Miami that is known for being one of the largest outdoor galleries in the world. Wynwood has an extensive history of being a booming residential neighborhood turned manufacturing district. Eventually, the Rubel family opened their collection, developers Tony Goldman and David Lombardi began transforming the area, and other major galleries opened up, establishing the Wynwood we have here today. I'll be sharing some of the wonderful murals and graffiti around the area. Starting off with one of the largest murals we have here in Wynwood, done by a group of anonymous artists from Berlin, Germany, called the One Up Crew, also known as One United Power. This work is titled One United Planet and was created during Art Week in 2021. The One Up letters emerge from the sand on a celestial planet, paying homage to Miami, a city known for its sandy beaches. They did this mural and had many other graffiti and street artists tag it, including the MSG crew, who we'll see more from later. Next, we have works by Adrian Avila, a Miami-based Cuban artist. This mural is titled Manna from Heaven and is also known as The Seed of Life. Adrian says that this piece represents the connection all living beings have with life itself and signifies the laws of nature. He has another work called Carbon Wynwood. This piece was done in 2018. He is known for his use of vibrant color, women as subjects, the use of gold leaf in geometric shapes, and realism within his work. This next work by Adrian is titled Red and was done in 2019. This piece is in the RC Cola factory. It was once a factory for RC Cola but was abandoned. Now it has been transformed into a venue for events while showcasing a variety of murals. Most of his work is done with oil paint and brushes. This isn't so common with large-scale murals because it can be very time-consuming and laborious. Using oil paint on exterior walls that are exposed to the weather can also affect the color. This is what the mural looked like when it was first painted, and this is what it looks like now. After the 2021 human rights violation protest in Cuba sparked international attention, Adrian created this piece titled Our Lady of Charity. The woman in the painting is America Valdez, a Cuban-American Miami resident who used her social media platforms to talk in English about the issues Cubans were facing, a topic that is usually discussed in Spanish. This mural represents the embodiment of liberty and peace, despite the differences in context due to language. Here you can see he is working on it. Notice his use of a brush and oil paint, and the scale of the wall compared to his height. I stopped by a week later, and he was able to finish it. Ernesto Morange is a Miami-based artist who often works with animals as subjects. This mural, titled Renewed Vision, is on the Florida Power and Light's battery storage facility in Wynwood. It depicts flamingos and a panther, both being animals that are native to Florida, gaining energy from the sun and solar panels. The animals take off like they're powering up as they go around the building. Ernesto Morange's next work, titled Pets Bring Us Together, is a partnership with Mana Public Arts and the pet supply company Chewy for Chewy's 10-year anniversary. He painted the pets of actual customers of Chewy. The large dog is named Athena, the cat is named Lola, and the bird is Bobby. Here you can see some of the pets close up. Notice how he incorporated floral patterns within the fur. This is a technique Ernesto integrates in most of his work. I Like Monopoly is an anonymous street artist originally from New York. He adopted the Mr. Monopoly character from the popular board games as his signature and uses it to criticize capitalism and the fraud bailouts and deregulation associated with major banks. He paints on abandoned buildings and warehouses rather than businesses and government property in order to avoid vandalism. As you can see, he's very prolific in the Wynwood area. His work can be seen on almost every street. However, he still tries to remain anonymous, and he often covers his face in pictures. He says he takes inspiration from artists such as Keith Haring and Basquiat. Ivan Roque is a Cuban-American artist from Miami, whose signature is to wrap his subjects in flowering and thorned vines. His work often explores concepts of birth, death, renewal, and social dynamics. This mural of a farmer wrapped in vines, titled El Sembrador, is located in the RC factory. This was done during the pandemic to honor migrant workers. There were essential workers expected to continue working despite unsafe conditions. Ivan is honoring them as the heroes that they are, blossoming through hardship like the flowers on thorned vines. In this work, Navi Waiting in the Shadows, notice the continued use of vines in Ivan's work. This is a more typical work by Ivan Roque. He frequently depicts animals, often with symbolic relationships to the location or environment the work is in. In this case, he has a hyena lurking behind vines. He says the hyena with glowing eyes symbolizes his own inner flaws, and the mandrake flower is symbolic of evil. This work is meant to evoke a feeling of provocation, as the viewer is challenged by Navi, the demon that lurks within the artist Ivan. Here we have a mural of the Cuban flag. This was done by Ivan and 11 other artists during the protests of inhumane treatment in Cuba. Many of Miami's residents are Cuban or Cuban descent, and these artists came together to unite the Cuban community and stand in solidarity in the face of hardship. The Gallera Collective came up with the idea, Menic Public Arts donated the wall, Sandwich de Miami donated the paint, and the artists got to work. This work was done in 2021 and is already being covered up. We'll take a look at what is on the wall now a little later. Next, we have works by Atomic, a Miami-based artist whose works you can see all over the world, not just in Wynwood. Because of the nature of his work, he's anonymous, and he actually has run into some trouble as many places, especially outside of Wynwood, have strict laws protecting properties from vandalism. Atomic is most known for his classic orange face. This recognizable face was appropriated from the Miami Orange Bowl mascot, Obi. The Miami Orange Bowl was a stadium in Florida that was demolished in 2008. He was then sent a cease and desist by the Orange Bowl committee for his use of the Obi orange face. He went on to change the face slightly to avoid legal trouble. What was originally a crown became a stem. He added a teardrop on the side of its face and a chip in its tooth, ultimately becoming Atomic's recognizable orange we see here today. It's become a game to see how many Atomic works I can spot while walking around. You can find his orange on tall buildings, alleyways, and places you wouldn't think were possible for a human to get to. Somehow, he makes it happen. Atomic is often joined by fellow graffiti artists. Here is Atomic's orange, and beside it is collaborator Cam Nutt's work. Like Atomic, Cam Nutt has a signature cartoon face that he uses in his work. The swirling lines make up the face. Cam Nutt is relatively new to the graffiti scene compared to Atomic. There are initiations to join certain prevalent graffiti crews in the area. Atomic is also associated with the MSG crew, also known as Miami Style Gods or Miami Style Graffiti, depending on who you ask. MSG is also very prevalent in the area. You can see here Atomic's orange beside a scroll that reads all the names of the artists that worked on the previous mural on this wall. There are many other artists in the MSG crew. You can usually spot their MSG signature beside the work, as you can see here. This mural is done by Buns and is called Selfie Demon or Selfie Queen. Her work typically consists of vibrant cartoonish characters of women, and her style has an airbrush feel. She is a member of the MSG crew. You can see her signature on the top right alongside the MSG tag. This is Fubar's tag. They are also part of the MSG crew, as you can see by the tag. Atomic also co-founded another group called 28 with some friends. 28 being the Miami-Dade County Police Code dispatch for vandalism. They initiate new members by having them tag 28 times, then viewing their work to see if they'll be a good fit for the crew. That's what the 28 means on this tag. The large work above the MSG tag is by Retina, a Los Angeles native artist who is very inspired by Egyptian hieroglyphics, Gothic script, and Native American symbols. He developed his own script, combining existing fonts and symbols. He says that the letters are not meant to be readable, but are meant to feel universal for all kinds of people and cultures. Ron English is a well-known artist with his easily recognizable propaganda style. He created the term propaganda to describe his work. He often takes recognizable imagery and twists it with symbols of pop culture. In this mural, titled The Last Supper in Delusionville, he takes what is probably one of the most recognizable paintings in the world, The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, and fuses it with modern satirical pop culture characters. This work, also in his Delusionville series, was done as a pop-up in 2021. You can see his use of similar imagery and characters as the previous mural. He worked with a Wynwood brewery to create limited edition cans with characters from this mural. This distorted smiley face, which is also referred to as the grin, is another one of his recognizable works. It's a spin on the classic "Have a nice day, happy face" that is often seen printed on plastic bags from gas station and corner stores. Saturno is an artist from Malgrat de Mar, northern Spain. With this work, titled Tea Gator, he shows how thoughts saturate and fog our subconscious, taking reins on our lives. The gator is a symbol of Florida. The gold armor represents our subconscious. The teapot is a representation of our minds constantly at work. In all, he wants to depict how our subconscious is always present, and although we may not be aware of it, it is what moves us. Saturno has another gator nearby, this one with a more menacing face as he carries on his signature style of the gator with ornate armor detailing in floral patterns. This piece by Shepard Fairey is called Fruits of Our Labor and addresses the genetic modification of fruits and vegetables that we have here in the U.S. in the military-industrial complex. He addresses corporate greed from companies like Monsanto and Chevron. Monsanto being the company that produced Agent Orange for the U.S. government during the Vietnam War. He includes the lyrics Mother Nature on the Run by singer and songwriter and environmentalist Neil Young. D. Face is a London-born artist whose background in illustration and design really shines through in his comic book style murals. This work is titled I Just Died in Your Arms and was done in 2015. He often credits Shepard Fairey as one of his major influences, so it's interesting that D. Face's mural is right beside Shepard Fairey's. This work is titled El Fuego Adentro, or The Fire Inside, and is by the Birdseed Collective, a collective made up of Birdseed Anthony, 2mil2000, and Diego Flores. The colorful spirit of the creature is bursting out of its chest, as if it's pouring its whole soul out on the wall. This work is titled Woman with Flowers, or There Is No Life Without Death, and was done by Dustin Spagnola. His work explores portraiture with an emphasis on the human form and light. Notice the tag FTK at the top. It's another graffiti crew called For the Kids that he runs with. This next work is done by Eddie Rivera, also known as Unknown Know-It-All. It is inspired by American artist Norman Rockwell, who is known for his paintings of culture. It is a portrait of Nate Diaz, an American mixed martial artist, after a match. This work is cyber analog and is by Grapster, done in 2021. This mural depicts a divided night and day image of a cyborg-like figure in a retro yet futuristic setting. Many murals come about as a memorial to people who have passed away. This mural was done by Levi Ponce to honor Virgil Abloh, a fashion designer and creative director of Louis Vuitton, who suddenly passed away in 2021. This next mural was done by an unknown artist. It is a portrait of the late Jallo Dean, who passed away in 2022. He worked for Morsha Manna and Wynwood and often helped many of the working muralists and street artists with whatever they needed. He was very appreciated in the Wynwood art community. This is the RC Cola factory. Artists come in and do these works themselves. It is ever-changing, and many of these works have been covered. The portrait with the red background is by Hyro, and is of a musician named Ichabod Vanes, also known as Jordan. It is called Church II, St. Jordan. This is what the inside of the RC Cola factory looks like. It is very grungy with years of tags covering the walls. This work is located in the RC Cola plant and is done by an artist named Studio Flop. It is titled Protect the Nature and takes inspiration from traditional art of ancient civilization like the Aztec, Inca, and Mayans. This mural of a Tautier is done by Hugo Mulder, an artist from Amsterdam, and is also located in the RC Cola plant. It was done in 2018 during that year's mural festival. Beside it are paintings of Chinese terracotta soldiers by Davor Smoljan. They collaborated on this idea. Hugo is known for his use of line work and color to create his work. This next work is by Kern Myrtle, an anonymous yarn bomber who definitely makes her presence known in the area. This is a collaboration she did with Few and Far Women, a group of women artists that are looking to redefine the norms of street art, a practice that is typically male-dominated. Kern's name is a crochet sculpture, and she uses crocheted rounds as spray paint stencils to frame the work. This is a more recent work done by Kern, done in 2022. It is called The Expansion. The garage is painted using spray paint and glitter in a pattern that is reminiscent of yarn work. It extends into crochet work in a matching color palette. This piece is done by Buff Monster, an artist from New York. His style is very recognizable with its funny and colorful characters, and he notes pop art, Japanese culture, and ice cream as some of his major influences. This work is done by Dominican artist Ruben Ubiera. He refers to his style as urban pop. He blends realism and abstract to create a gorilla wearing glasses emerging from a record player. On the left of his work is We Demand by artist Manuel Oliver. He is the father of Joaquin Oliver, one of the 14 students that was murdered at the Parkland school shooting. Through the murals, he advocates for stricter gun laws. In the mural is his son Joaquin, Parkland activist Emma Gonzalez, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Abraham Lincoln, and Muhammad Ali. This work is by Connecticut artist Greg Mike and is located in the Wynwood Walls Outdoor Museum. Through a surreal pop art style, he creates these busy murals of his own world full of twisted and mischievous characters. This mural was done in 2021 by 5 FIU students: Wendy X. Ordonez, Claudia Newman, Avon S., Stefano Botti, and Emilian Miazza. This was the first time FIU as a university participated in the mural festival. The woman blowing bubbles is symbolic of offering good wishes to the Miami community after the hardship of the pandemic. Nate D is an FIU graduate. He painted this large-scale panther, FIU's mascot, on FIU's building in Wynwood. It took him about 2 weeks to complete. The first week of December is Miami Art Week, and Wynwood hosts their annual mural festival during this time. Many of the works I've shared are currently in progress of being covered up by new work. Now I'll share a few works in progress. This wall is currently being worked on by Luis Beros, an esteemed Miami-based artist who is even a contemporary artist for the Disney Underground. He shared with me that this wall was reserved for the crew he is affiliated with, called the Free Agents. He and another artist are in the process of covering up their previous mural of the cartoon Peppa Pig. Here you can see artist Timon Delat, a Netherlands-based artist, in the process of creating his mural. His work is very influenced by his appreciation of Latin American culture, especially that of Mexico. This technique is doodle gridding. The artist will draw random doodles on the wall they're going to be painting on. Then they'll take a photo of the wall and sketch their design over the picture and use that as a template for the placement of their drawing. Other techniques artists use to start their murals are using a projector at night to project, then trace their images on the wall, creating square grids, and even just freehanding their designs. They use whichever is their preference and makes the process more seamless for their individual practice. This wall was previously Ivan Roque's Navi in the Shadows. It is going to be worked on by an artist named Ashley. She hired this company to prime the wall to prepare it for her work. Often, when a previous mural is primed over and ready for the next, the artist will come by and write their names on the wall to claim the space, especially when it is a planned or commissioned work. Most of the time, this is respected. You can see here, this wall was reserved by an artist named Ruben. Notice how someone changed the R and the E in his name to spell Cuban, and others tag their own signatures around the blank wall. Regardless of this, the wall is still mostly bare and prepped, waiting for Ruben to work his magic. This wall, which was once the Cuban flag mural, is a collaboration with members of the MSG crew for the Mural Fest 2022. The wall is segmented into sections, and each piece is a different MSG artist, showing off their style. The oranges on the left are Atomic, the roses beside it are by Unknown Know-It-All, the ducks are Hyro, the pink girl with the blue hair is Buns, and the Roberto Clemente baseball portrait is by Luis Beros. As you can see, many muralists and graffiti artists often take inspiration from their environment, tailoring their work to fit the specific city they are in, the political and social climate, and even the wall they're working on. In Wynwood, there's always something new to see, and what was here one week might be covered by something new the next week. Thanks for watching.